Many people over 65 have heard the admonition, don't eat eggs if you want to keep your cholesterol down, and it can be confusing to sort out whether this time-honored advice still applies. Imagine waking up in the morning, craving something warm and comforting, only to remember your doctor's stern warning from years ago to lay off the eggs, especially the yolks. You sigh, pour a bowl of tasteless cereal instead, and wonder if you're missing out on something that might actually benefit your health. That sense of sacrificing enjoyment without knowing for certain it's helping can dampen your entire day, especially if it's based on information that might no longer be accurate. For seniors, conflicting dietary guidelines create real frustration. Your body's metabolism and nutritional needs have shifted in your later years, but the messages from previous decades often echo in your mind. Is a single egg from time to time going to do more harm than good? The stakes feel high, and rightfully so. After 70, stable cholesterol levels support heart health, energy levels, and even cognitive function. No one wants to risk a heart complication because they made the wrong dietary choice. Yet avoiding foods you've been told are bad could mean missing essential nutrients your body might actually need. This matters because many older adults develop rigid eating habits or fears about certain foods, eggs being a prime example. Let's face it, no one wants a lecture from a physician about rising LDL numbers, but many are equally afraid of missing out on nourishment that fosters muscle strength, bone density, and overall vitality. Often, seniors have a single health professional or well-meaning friend to rely on for nutritional guidance. But that advice might have been shaped by older research rather than the updated perspectives and evidence emerging today. In fact, the key to stable cholesterol after 70 doesn't hinge on entirely eliminating eggs. It centers on the bigger picture of your overall lifestyle. What you eat on a daily basis, how much you move your body, and any medications you may be taking. There's a new wave of thinking that suggests moderate egg consumption may actually contribute positively to senior health when balanced with a variety of other essential nutrients. By digging deeper, you might discover that cutting eggs out entirely could be doing you more harm than good, especially if you miss out on the protein and micronutrients they provide. By the end of our time together, you'll have a clearer picture of how to approach eggs in your diet without fear or guilt. You'll learn about how cholesterol actually works in the body, what makes eggs a surprisingly beneficial choice for many older adults, how to watch out for medication interactions, and how to keep your arteries and heart in good shape. You'll also see how manageable, step-by-step changes can simplify meal planning and enhance your sense of well-being. Think of this as a journey where you shift from feeling anxious and uncertain to making informed, confident decisions about your diet. Throughout this discussion, you'll hear stories of people just like you, seniors who were hesitant to embrace new thinking about eggs and cholesterol, but who discovered that a balanced approach to nutrition was more effective than strict avoidance. If you've been told to never eat eggs and you're looking for clarity, stay with me. You may find this is the perspective you've been waiting for, one that protects your heart health, boosts your energy, and keeps your meals satisfying. And as you listen, feel free to reflect on your own experiences. How many times have you skipped something you genuinely enjoy because of outdated advice? I'd love to hear your thoughts and questions, so keep them in mind as we explore these ideas. Let's begin by looking at 5 critical points. We'll start with a look at why seniors have been afraid of eggs for so long. Then we'll examine new findings about cholesterol in older adults. Next, we'll explore practical ways to enjoy eggs without risking health setbacks. We'll also review how medication interactions can play a role in your overall cholesterol levels. And finally, we'll look at lifestyle habits that can help you strike a healthy balance. By the end, you'll have a blueprint for stable cholesterol that respects your age, your health challenges, and your desire to keep life enjoyable. Now let's dive deeper into this misunderstood food and the real impact it has on your health. You might recall sitting in a doctor's office when you were 52, for instance, hearing stern recommendations to keep egg consumption to a bare minimum or avoid them altogether. That might have been the best advice at the time, based on then current research. But if you're still following it at 70 or beyond, you could be operating under a misconception that prevents you from taking full advantage of what eggs offer. So let's challenge that assumption and see what's truly at play here. First, we address the long-standing myth that eggs are the primary culprit behind high cholesterol. Many seniors grew up in an era where dietary cholesterol was considered a one-way ticket to clogged arteries. This led to widespread fear of egg yolks, which are known to contain cholesterol. But the truth is that our understanding of how cholesterol works in the body has evolved considerably. For one thing, not all cholesterol is equal. There's LDL, often called bad cholesterol, and HDL, good cholesterol. And the balance between these is more important than any single number. If you're living with the fear that a single egg could tip the scales toward heart disease, you might be missing the bigger picture. Take Helen, age 72, for example. After her husband's heart attack a decade ago, she stopped buying eggs altogether, believing they were too risky. She stuck to oatmeal every morning, supplemented by fruit. Despite her diligence, her recent checkup showed that her LDL levels were climbing. She was baffled. So was her doctor, who discovered that Helen's daily diet was lacking sufficient protein and healthy fats. They made a plan that included moderate egg consumption, around 3 to 4 times per week, combined with more vegetables and high-fiber grains. Over time, her cholesterol profile actually improved. Helen's doctor explained that genetics, weight management, and overall dietary balance were more influential on her blood lipids than simply whether or not she ate eggs. What can we learn from Helen's experience? First, restricting eggs doesn't necessarily guarantee ideal cholesterol, especially if the rest of your diet isn't balanced. Second, moderate egg intake, particularly when paired with high-fiber foods, can actually help maintain healthy HDL levels. And third, many factors influence cholesterol, including age, activity level, and medications. If you've spent years believing that eggs are enemy number one, it may be time to rethink that stance. From a practical standpoint, this might mean revisiting your grocery list. Could you add a carton of eggs again? Is there a way to incorporate them into a meal that also features heart-friendly vegetables like spinach or bell peppers and high-fiber grains such as whole wheat toast or oats? The emotional benefit is just as important. Removing the guilt or anxiety around a single food item can be freeing. That said, it's crucial to keep an open dialogue with a healthcare provider, especially if you have a history of heart disease, diabetes, or other risk factors. A simple blood test along with your personal health history can guide how many eggs per week might be right for you. Be honest, have you found yourself totally avoiding certain foods because of old guidelines? Consider jotting down those foods and discussing them with your doctor or dietitian. You might be surprised at how many have a green light, or at least a yellow light if consumed wisely. Knowledge is power, and in this case, it can also lead to better flavor and enjoyment in your daily meals. Cholesterol is only one piece of the puzzle. When people worry about eggs, they're usually concerned about heart disease and related complications. But research shows that a variety of factors matter more than a single type of food. Total dietary patterns, portion sizes, frequency of indulgences, and other lifestyle components like exercise and stress management. A heart-healthy approach for seniors often includes focusing on the quality of your overall diet. Yet many older adults still wrestle with the question, isn't dietary cholesterol directly linked to high blood cholesterol? Let's look at Walter, age 68. He grew up hearing the narrative that all cholesterol is bad. So when his doctor told him his LDL was borderline high, he panicked and cut out virtually all sources of cholesterol and fat. On paper, that might sound smart, but Walter found himself feeling chronically fatigued. He experienced muscle loss and noted that his skin and hair were showing signs of nutrient deficiency. During a nutrition consultation, it became clear that by eliminating dietary cholesterol, he also cut back on healthy fats and vital nutrients. Over time, Walter learned that adding back certain foods, including eggs, in moderate amounts provided essential nutrients that supported his energy levels and didn't push his LDL into dangerous territory. The misconception many seniors hold is that every bit of dietary cholesterol goes straight to their arteries. In reality, the body's own liver produces a significant amount of cholesterol, and dietary sources can influence, but do not solely determine, blood cholesterol levels. Some experts suggest that especially for seniors, the ratio of LDL to HDL is more important than total cholesterol. Eggs, particularly when prepared without excessive butter or oil, can support healthy HDL levels, while contributing important micronutrients like vitamin D and B vitamins. This is where the emotional side kicks in. When you believe for decades that something is harmful, it's natural to feel uneasy about reintroducing it. The last thing you want is to spend your retirement years dealing with complications. But knowledge can help you push past these fears. You don't necessarily have to jump straight into having eggs daily. Start slow, maybe 1 or 2 eggs per week, and monitor how you feel. Meanwhile, prioritize variety. If eggs are back on the menu, balance them with fruits, vegetables, and whole grains that keep LDL in check. It's about synergy, not isolation. This broader view of cholesterol can be surprisingly liberating. Instead of pigeonholing a single food as good or bad, you look at how it fits into your entire routine. For some, this might reduce the mental burden of meal planning. If you've been anxiously obsessing over egg yolks, imagine replacing that anxiety with the confidence that you have a balanced approach. In turn, this mental calm can also improve health. Stress alone can influence cardiovascular markers. If you're still uncertain, consider an experiment. Talk to your healthcare provider, get baseline blood work, then introduce eggs in a controlled manner for a few weeks, while maintaining or improving other healthful habits. Then test again. You might be surprised at the outcome, just like Walter was. It's an empowering experience to see lab results that reflect a more nuanced truth about how your body responds to dietary cholesterol. Now let's shift into practical strategies for enjoying eggs while still keeping your heart in mind. One of the biggest misconceptions about eggs and cholesterol is that you have to choose between flavor and health. That's simply not true. There are many ways to cook eggs that are both delicious and heart-friendly. Scrambling them with spinach, mushrooms, or onions, and using a light cooking spray or a small amount of olive oil can create a nutrient-rich breakfast or brunch. For those who enjoy a sunny-side-up style, using a non-stick pan can reduce extra fats. If you're feeling creative, you can whip up an egg-based veggie frittata that makes enough servings to last a couple of days, ensuring you have quick, nutritious meal options available. Carol, age 71, offers a great example. After retirement, she and her husband found themselves gravitating toward quick meals, often processed foods, since they no longer had the structure of a work schedule. Carol noticed she felt sluggish and started to gain weight around her midsection. She also missed the home-cooked breakfast she used to prepare on weekends. Her new plan? She decided to schedule one hearty home-cooked meal featuring eggs each week. She'd add spinach, diced tomatoes, and a small amount of cheese for flavor. Over a period of 6 months, she lost a modest amount of weight, felt more energetic, and her cholesterol levels stabilized. The twist? Her doctor had originally told her to watch her cholesterol, but with her improved overall diet, the occasional egg-based meal fit perfectly within her daily needs. What made this shift successful was combining eggs with nutrient-dense vegetables and focusing on portion control. Carol discovered that if she paired eggs with a side of fruit or a slice of whole grain toast, she felt fuller longer. She was less tempted to snack on sugary foods later in the day. This combination of protein, fiber, and healthy fats helped regulate her appetite and manage her blood sugar, both important factors for cholesterol management. If you're considering bringing eggs back into your routine, think about your cooking methods. Frying eggs in butter every morning might not be the healthiest approach, especially if you pair them with sausage or bacon. But poaching or boiling them can preserve nutrients while avoiding extra fats. Also, consider seasoning. Herbs like oregano, basil, or chives can elevate the taste without relying on excess salt. For some seniors, salt intake can be a concern, so seasoning with herbs and spices is a heart-smart alternative. The emotional benefits of this shift can be significant. Being able to enjoy a beloved breakfast item again can boost your mood. Rather than feeling restricted or fearful, you'll have the freedom to create a meal that feels comforting and nostalgic, like something you'd share with family on a leisurely Sunday. This sense of satisfaction can encourage you to keep making other positive changes in your eating habits. If you're still apprehensive, remember that eggs are often more economical than many specialized health foods, which is a big plus for those on a fixed income. If you found these insights helpful, consider sharing this video with a friend who might be just as confused about eggs and cholesterol as you once were. It's amazing how many of us cling to old myths without realizing newer research has emerged. After all, the more we stay informed, the better our choices become, and the easier it is to keep our independence and quality of life as we age. There's another angle to this conversation we should address: medication interactions. Many seniors take cholesterol-lowering drugs, often statins, which can change how your body handles dietary fats. This doesn't necessarily mean you have to avoid eggs. It just means you need to be aware of how certain foods and supplements interact with your regimen. Checking in with a pharmacist or your physician is a wise step. They might suggest regular blood tests to monitor how your body reacts as you adjust your diet. Harold, age 74, had been on a statin for years and heard conflicting advice about whether combining that medication with eggs was risky. When he consulted his healthcare team, they encouraged him to enjoy eggs in moderation, but cautioned him against adding other high cholesterol items at the same meal. They also emphasized the value of regular exercise in supporting the statin's effectiveness. Harold started walking 30 minutes a day and incorporated eggs, either boiled or scrambled, 2 to 3 times a week. After a few months, he noticed his labs were stable and his energy was better. He hadn't experienced the side effects he feared. This outcome reinforced that a balanced diet, combined with medical supervision, can be a winning combination. For those taking multiple medications, commonly called polypharmacy, the concern is how everything interacts in your system. Calcium supplements might interfere with certain drugs. Blood thinners can react to changes in vitamin K intake. The point is, when you consider adjusting your egg consumption, it's wise to look at the entire picture. Sometimes a quick consultation or medication review reveals that moderate egg intake is perfectly compatible with your treatments. Other times, you may need to schedule eggs around certain medications to optimize absorption or avoid side effects. It's not only about avoiding negative interactions. Properly balanced nutrition can enhance the effectiveness of some medications by supporting your body's natural processes. Eggs contain nutrients like choline, which can be helpful for cognitive health, and vitamin D, which supports bone health, both important for seniors. These benefits might even reduce the need for additional supplements, depending on your specific medical profile. Think of food as a partner in your overall healthcare plan, rather than a potential enemy. Emotionally, it can be a relief to realize you can reclaim foods you thought were forever off limits. It reminds you that life doesn't have to be about restriction after restriction. Of course, every person's situation is unique, and that's why medical guidance is crucial. Always keep your healthcare provider in the loop about dietary changes. If you're unsure how to start that conversation, ask something like, "How might moderate egg consumption fit into my medication regimen?" This shows you're proactive about your health, and it allows your provider to tailor their recommendations specifically to you. Have you already had a conversation like this with your doctor or pharmacist? If not, consider making it a goal to discuss at your next appointment. A little bit of knowledge can go a long way toward easing your worries and helping you enjoy a more varied diet. Finally, let's talk about the lifestyle habits that tie everything together. You can reintroduce eggs and manage your medications responsibly, but if you're living a mostly sedentary life or eating too much saturated fat overall, you might not see the cholesterol improvements you want. Physical activity plays a significant role in heart health, weight management, and even emotional well-being. For many seniors, exercising doesn't have to mean joining a gym. It can be as simple as a daily walk or gentle stretches at home. If you have mobility issues, seated exercises can still get your circulation moving. Joe, age 77, believed that at his age, the time for exercise had passed. He occasionally shuffled around the block, but spent most of his day in front of the television. His doctor pointed out that even moderate activity could significantly affect his cholesterol levels. Joe decided to make small changes. He started by walking around his living room during commercial breaks. As he grew more comfortable, he ventured outside for a short walk after breakfast. And yes, he included a boiled egg in that breakfast. Over several months, Joe noticed that his endurance improved, and at his next checkup, his triglycerides were lower. Combining good nutrition with movement is a potent formula. When you eat foods that support heart health, like eggs in moderation, leafy greens, whole grains, and lean proteins, and you stay active, you create a synergy that stabilizes cholesterol more effectively than either strategy alone. It also helps maintain muscle mass, which is vital for maintaining independence. After all, if your cholesterol is perfect, but you don't have the strength to climb stairs or carry groceries, your quality of life suffers. Another habit that can help is stress reduction. Chronic stress can contribute to inflammation, which in turn can affect cholesterol. Meditation, deep breathing, or simply socializing with friends can make a difference. Think about turning mealtime into a social event if you can. Invite a neighbor over for an omelet loaded with veggies, or call a family member while you're cooking to share the moment. Emotional well-being is closely tied to physical health, and sharing a meal can be far more enjoyable than eating alone. Sleep is also crucial, yet many seniors struggle with insomnia or frequent nighttime awakenings. Adequate sleep supports hormonal balance, including those related to appetite and cholesterol metabolism. If you find you're not sleeping well, a light protein-based snack in the evening, possibly egg whites combined with whole grains, might help stabilize blood sugar levels overnight. Of course, this varies from person to person, so monitor how your body responds. As you bring all these elements together, reframing your view of eggs, understanding cholesterol's complexities, choosing cooking methods that boost health, staying mindful of medication interactions, and embracing a balanced lifestyle, you'll find that stable cholesterol after 70 is not only achievable, but can also be enjoyable. It's a journey of patience and small adjustments, but each step can lead to a better quality of life. So where do we end up after all of this? We've challenged the long-held belief that eggs are off limits for seniors concerned about heart health. We've discovered that for many people, moderate egg consumption can be part of a heart-friendly diet. Along the way, we've seen how individual stories like Helen's, Walter's, Carol's, Harold's, and Joe's prove that life after 70 can be vibrant, nutritious, and more flexible than you might imagine. But let's be clear, this doesn't mean everyone should rush out to eat eggs every day. It means recognizing that the demonization of eggs may be rooted in outdated science or oversimplified guidelines. If you have specific conditions or are on certain medications, you'll want to keep your healthcare provider in the loop to ensure that your diet suits your particular needs. Still, the good news is that never eat eggs no longer has to be a blanket rule once you pass 70. Time matters here. The decisions you make now can dramatically influence how you feel a year from now, or even a decade from now. By adopting a balanced diet and staying active, you can help ward off serious health complications. This isn't fear-mongering, it's simply a reality check that reminds us how our everyday choices can accumulate either positive or negative consequences over time. If you've been waiting for the perfect time to take a fresh look at your cholesterol strategy, consider this a gentle nudge to move forward. One way to get started is by jotting down a short meal plan for the week that includes 2 or 3 egg-based dishes, each paired with vegetables, whole grains, or other high-fiber sides. Share that plan with your doctor to see if it aligns with your overall health objectives. Alternatively, if you're not yet ready to incorporate eggs regularly, you can at least have an open conversation with a nutritionist or a trusted healthcare professional to revisit your dietary myths and discover what might work better for your body now. If you're feeling optimistic but still on the fence, take one small step. Maybe that step is substituting a processed breakfast pastry with a single boiled egg and some fruit, or trying a healthy frittata recipe once a week to see how your body responds. Keep track of how you feel, physically and mentally. Do you notice any changes in your energy or mood? Do you find it easier to manage your medication schedule or your appetite throughout the day? Those small experiments can provide invaluable feedback. As for a call to action, if you found this perspective helpful, try putting it into practice. You could challenge yourself to one new egg-based recipe this week. Maybe get a friend or family member involved. Cook together or exchange recipes. If you know someone else who's been living under the never eat eggs rule, share this video with them. Give them the chance to explore new food options and break free from outdated fear-based guidelines. Additionally, if you haven't had a full medication review in the past year, consider scheduling one. It's an essential step for anyone taking multiple prescriptions, and it's a perfect opportunity to discuss dietary questions like egg consumption in the context of your specific medications. You might discover important tweaks that can help your overall health strategy. By embracing a more nuanced understanding of cholesterol, we empower ourselves to eat in a way that's both safe and satisfying. It's not about throwing caution to the wind. It's about learning how to balance the foods we love, like eggs, with the realities of aging bodies and medical conditions. This balanced viewpoint respects both your desire for enjoyment and your need to stay well. Let's close on an empowering note. Your wisdom and life experience have likely taught you that health advice is ever evolving. The best approach is to remain open, stay curious, and consult trusted healthcare sources. You have a lifetime of knowledge behind you and the capacity to adapt to new information as it emerges. So, give yourself permission to step beyond the myths and discover what truly works for you. Because your health, happiness, and the simple pleasure of a good meal are all well worth the effort.